Hey, this is Al McGee with YETicket.com. Well, I'm going to talk about this film that the characters you should be familiar with. Well, but if you're a little younger, you wouldn't know these characters at all. I'm talking about the film called The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Now, this is directed by Michael Showalter, but this is based on a documentary, a 2000 documentary by Fenton Bailey and Randy Barbertalk. And I will admit, I really enjoyed this film. Now, in past, I used to watch them, not the show so much, but to watch them because I thought they were a parody of life and what they were doing. But I admired that they made all this money off of fear and ignorance and that they prosperous from that money. Now, in this film, the director did not make this a comedy. This is really not a comedy at all, because once I saw this film, Tammy Faye is really not a comical person. It starts off this film about Tammy Faye. Well, she's a young girl. Her mother was the organ player, piano player at her church. But her mother would not allow her to go to church at first because her mother was ashamed of being divorced and having all these different kids. Then she remarried another guy, but still, it was the type of church where they judged you, type of people that judged you for what you did with your life, what happened in your life. But one day, young Tammy Faye, she went into the church and she felt the word of God, and that was it. And then the film goes a few years later when she in a school learning about the religion, and in the classroom is Jim Bakker. So she and Jim Bakker talk and they hook up and they finally get married at a very young age. And they go to her mother's house and they introduce themselves. Now, Jim Bakker doesn't have a dime in his pocket, but what did he do? He went and financed a Cadillac. Now they have no home, no money, but he financed a Cadillac, and they went around the South, getting donations and things like that for when they preach, when they talk. Then Tammy Faye came up with this idea to do these puppets, for the little kids to tell these stories with puppets. And I thought that was a very good idea about her. But that just made them much more interesting, and many, many more people started watching them. Then they met other religious figures. For example, they met Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson had a small television show, and they got on his show, and they started bringing in more money than Pat Robertson. And Jim Bakker started to notice that, hey, we should be getting this money. We should be living the life that Pat Robertson is living. So Jim Bakker created the PTL, and that's when they really took off. Now, Jessica Chastain, she plays Tammy Faye, and the former Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, plays Jim Bakker. I love their interaction between each other in this film, and it really made it real for me. And I felt that this story is very, very detailed about her life. And I feel that Tammy Faye was way ahead of her time in issues and stories that she presented on the PTL show. For example, she talked about AIDS. She had a homosexual on her show. And not only that, she talked about ED, erectile dysfunction, on her show. And she also talked about other social issues on the show that Jim Bakker and other Southern ministers did not want her to do. In fact, the Southern ministers, like Jerry Falwell, they told Jim to corral his woman, control his woman. And remember, this is led by men, not women at all. Of course, they got in trouble. Jim Bakker is not the best businessman. Remember earlier I talked about that Cadillac where he got that repossessed. And that showed you right there, this guy was not very good with money. I feel that Jessica Chastain really made her more human, and also really made her, Well, a person now that I kind of understand because, again, when I used to watch them, I used to laugh at them, but I did not understand the humanity of Tammy Faye. I really didn't because I did not pay attention to her because of all the other things that was going on around her and that show and her husband, Jim Baker. When you watch this film is not slanted for you to say, hey, wow, uh, this is who you should root for. This film is made for you to make your decision about what did you see on the film. That's why I enjoyed this film. It didn't try to tell you how to think. It was trying to show you this is what it was. Now you figure out for yourself and also go get more information about Tammy Faye and see what the type of person she really was. I didn't know. I didn't pay attention. So I'm giving this film 3 palm trees out of 4, 3 palm trees out of 4. And the reason for that is some other issues came up in this film. But otherwise, this is a very good film to watch. It really is. The Eyes of Tammy Faye, 3 palm trees. See it for yourself. Hey, thanks for watching my review. I'm Al McGee here at yeticket.com. Thank you.